Hi, I'm Ray Seahorn, and you are listening to Pluribus Diaries.
Well, hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Pluribus Diaries. I'm Annie.
I'm Jen.
And we have a very cool episode for you guys today. We got to sit down and talk with Pamela Stafford, who is one of the background actors on Pluribus.
Yeah.
We had a really, really cool chat with her. But before we get into that, let's hear some listener feedback, Jen.
Thanks, Annie. We had some great listener feedback in response to our top 10 Carol moments. Everyone has their favorite Carol moments, as well we all should as fans of Pluribus, since really Pluribus is one long Carol moment, and we love them all. So thanks for sharing your favorites with us. They delighted us anew. From Heather said her one of her fave moments is when she's this particular I'm just going to first say nearly everyone I think mentioned the truth serum scene as one of their favorites, and rightly so. You and I think agree with that, Annie. We think we had that. I had two, I think, actually, from that scene on mine. But the moment that Heather picked out was when she pops up on screen and she is wearing what I think must be the hat from Maureen and says, "I'm not that bad." The fact she's so close and it's just her eyeballs kills me.
That's a really good one. It's hard to pick one from that scene because there's so many funny.
For real.
It's like that one's a very personal scene. I think that the moment that you pick, I think that's like a personality test, right?
It could be, yeah.
The moment that you pick from the truth serum scene is indicative of your personality.
Let's do it. Let's do that. I can't remember which moments I picked. I have to go back now and check. It'll be like some kind of like a Rorschach test or something like that. Or we could definitely do that.
Getting back to Heather's moment, though, that is a really great moment. I love it because it feels just so earnest. Like
it really does. I mean, she's so dismissive of the whole hat thing earlier when she's, not high. Yeah. But I think she really does. She's feeling something for real when she does that, when she's wigged out. So I think it's kind of a moment.
Yeah, it's those little moments that I love when we're reminded that she really does like Waikaro. Like she really does have a soft spot for it, much as she talks shit about it, which I think is relatable. I think we all have relationships
we all feel that way, right? From time to time. And also I think it indicates there's a little hint of she cares more about what people think of her than she lets on. I'm not that bad. So I kind of like that aspect of it too. So
totally.
Good choice, Heather. Amelia wrote in, hi Amelia, and said how much she enjoyed the episode. Thanks, Amelia. It made me laugh so much and just relish in the wonder that is our beloved Carol Sturka. I think I fell harder for her than any other character ever, even Jimmy McGill, my spirit brother. Unsurprising when I think about it, considering Carol and Jimmy are very much on the same continuum of hot messes. Jimmy, of course, being from Better Call Saul, for those that may not know.
Props to a Jimmy McGill name drop.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's correct. They are both hot messes.
They are.
Different ways, but I like that.
Vince Gilligan enjoys writing hot messes, and I enjoy watching them. I mean, we're all hot messes in our own ways, right? So they are fun characters to watch for sure. Some of Amelia's awesome picks were her number one pick was Carol protecting Helen from the wolves and paving her grave. Is that too long for one moment? I don't think so. It's a great moment. My utter favorite montage from a show that has perfected the art of montages. It was so fucking moving. I was literally sobbing when I first saw it. It's not just about Carol doing one last thing for her beloved Helen, but speaks to so many things about who she is. Independent, creative, resourceful, caring, strong, brokenhearted. Oh, Carol, she needs a hug so badly. Well said, Amelia. 100. That's such a really great encapsulation of that scene, I think. So thank you for that. Lots of other great mentions from Amelia. I particularly enjoyed Carol silently getting Helen to rearrange the books at the airport with one eyebrow. Mm-hmm. Carol being grumpy and adorable at the Ice Hotel. I love those two moments in particular because they're both Helen moments.
The Ice Hotel came very close to making my list.
Yeah, me too. So I'm glad to see, this is the great thing about listener feedback. We get to talk about things we didn't have time to fit into our lists.
Yes.
Amelia, I love this, the way Amelia put this one. Carol at the lunch in Spain doing her best to fight for humanity before storming off to fall over her own feet. Yeah, pretty much.
That whole scene is just a masterclass. It's one of those things where it builds and builds on itself to the point where you're not even really noticing how drunk she's getting until the very, very end. And then it kind of just plateaus and then there's a dip. It's great.
It's so great. It's so good. And also, Amelia also mentioned Carol calling Zosha in charm offensive, so emotional yet so right before the kiss, which I don't like because I feel like Zosha is taking advantage of her. And even though, yes, that kiss is hot, it's also disturbing to me. Interesting take there, Amelia. I like it. Very interesting. Not too different from your and my takes, I think.
Agreed. Definitely hot. Also disturbing, which you know has a hot combo for some. So
it's not a bad combination at all. So hot and disturbing is it's interesting. Hot and disturbing is more interesting than just hot. No question about that.
Agreed.
E. Allen wrote to us and with another great top 10 list of their own, saying, and a couple of the interesting ones that I really liked were another videotape scene where Carol tapes the recording about the hive and sends her research to the other unjoined. This is the first time we see Carol since the opening scene, close to being sober, determined, caring about saving the world, an inspiration to Manny, that would be Manusos, I think.
Yeah.
The antithesis of the last scene in the finale. I love that point, actually, about she really is, I love how she is very together in that videotape. She really, she's got the suit jacket on. She's hiding the booze in the background. That's great points from that one.
It makes her undoing so much more painful when you see
it does.
The way they did that scene too, and they kind of juxtaposed it with her. She was sad because she was left out of the Zoom calls and no one gives a shit. But Manusos is like being so inspired by this video that had no effect on anyone else.
Yeah, it's so great.
Great. It's just great.
I love that. I love the scene where it's two really interesting. I think we probably discussed this when we discussed the episode, but I love how different the sense of watching that video is when we first watch Carol making it, where it's a little goofy, it's funny.
Yeah.
And then we see it again through Manusos's eyes when he's watching it. Yeah. And it's a completely different experience when you see how much it means to him. And of course it would. He actually values this information.
That is a really great example of wonderful storytelling because it's the same video. Nothing about it is different, but we see it in two completely different ways. We know Carol. We know who she is. We're watching her do this ridiculous video. Good luck and Godspeed. And we're laughing because we're like, what are you doing, girl? And then when we see it later, it's like a completely different video. And what was that? Episode 5 and 6, I think. Yeah. We were barely halfway through the season and we already knew enough about both of those characters to just go completely with that. What a really, really wonderful
I love it.
Arc.
I
little
love
mini
that.
Arc. Yeah.
I just really love so many little moments of all of the videos that Carol wound up making of herself at various times. Another one from E. Allen, a couple more. The scene, I'm really glad that I get to talk about this one because I really wanted to put it on my list and I couldn't fit it. The scene on the rooftop of the restaurant with Carol eating a real meal for a change and honoring her time and memories of Helen. Honestly, any of the Gap scenes could work here. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And also one more from this email. Any Carol comfort TV scenes with the Golden Girls, sad, relatable, and miserable. Yeah. Love it. Love it. Love all those things.
I can't believe we didn't mention any Golden Girls in our lists, but I realized afterwards, Jen,
Yeah.
Did you know this? The only episode that neither of us mentioned anything from was Grenade.
I did notice that afterwards.
Crazy.
Which is weird because it's a great episode.
Yeah. I was just
I
like,
know.
that's wild.
I know, because I love Grenade. So I don't know how it happened, but there were just so many good moments. It was just really hard. But they were pretty well spread out over the other episodes. Like, there's not a dot amongst them. So we managed to fit in lots of other ones. But I do love that scene with Carol on the rooftop restaurant. How it's just, there's just, again, so much going on with Carol, and that Ray conveys so well with, she's having kind of fun. She's kind of into it. She's enjoying the meal. And then, like, there's that moment where she kind of remembers and she's sad, but she's trying to sort of pull it together, and she's playing the music, and damn it, I'm going to enjoy myself. There's just so much happening.
Yeah.
Love it, love everything about it. Angela said, one of my top 5 Carolisms, I like that, Carolisms, has to be in Grenade. All right, good. We get to talk about something from Grenade. This is good. When Zosha comes back to Carol's place and they have a socially awkward drink, glug, glug, glug. I like the way that Angela mentioned the glug, glug, glug there. Zosha does her signature fascinating fact or fun fact move on the etymology of vodka, and then goes on to demonstrate how to say cheers in Sanskrit. Carol tries to return the toast, but can't. So instead improvises with one of my top 5 Carolisms, shoo, shoo, shoopy, shoop, shoop, as she raises her glass. Yeah, so good. Shoo, shoo, shoopy, shoop, shoop.
I love that because I actually have a wine glass that says shoopy, shoop, shoop on it.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Well done. Where do you find these things? You're so good at sourcing all the cool stuff.
I make them. I make the things that I need in the world. Yes.
That's just be the things you want to see in the world.
Exactly.
And in this case, you're making them. Good for you, you handy gal. Well done. Good choice. I mean, that's great. I feel like you could market those, actually. From Alex. Hi, Alex. Alex says, I've been with the pod since day one. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
I absolutely adore listening to you two. Sweet. I had been meaning to listen to the X-Files Diaries for a long time. And when I fell in love with you both listening to Pluribus Diaries, I quickly got myself almost completely caught up there too. Your conversations are so insightful and fun. Thank you, Alex. That's ever so sweet. Very kind. Now, Alex had another full and fulsome top 10. A couple, let's mention another one from Grenade again. When Carol is mocking Zosha about what the joining must feel like, calling it every Rick Steves special, and suddenly realizing she's talking about what it was like to be with Helen, then Zosha completes her thought from the perspective of Helen's memories. So beautiful and heartbreaking. Yeah, great moment for that one. I totally agree. That one really got me. And one of the things I love about that moment too is the music, very specifically, because in that moment we hear the same theme that was playing in the cold open. Emphasis on the word cold. Was that the cold open in the hotel? Yeah. It was, wasn't it? And so there's like a sort of almost like an icy sound to the music. And that theme comes back as soon as Carol mentions the ice hotel. And I just love that. It just like gives me all of the feels.
Shout out to Dave Porter.
Yeah, absolutely. Always. Also from Alex, we had when Carol shoots the gun at Manusos. Come on. The only time I'm pro-gun is when Ray Seahorn makes it look so badass and hot. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed, Alex. Agreed, 100%. Also, this was a sad one. When Carol talking about Camp Freedom Falls, I love how this is probably the single most important insight into Carol's past, her personality, and how she views the joining. Such a nuanced and essential part of the entire narrative. Oh, yeah. Wow. That is... that's a lot, that scene. But yeah, really, like, absolutely the bedrock of a lot of what we learn about Carol.
Yep.
And Alex, for her number one, Alex actually puts Carol watching herself testing the truth serum. The dichotomy of Ray's performances are so flawlessly heartbreaking and hilarious. And yes, when she says, and why she got to be so goddamn fuckable is my favorite. As a gay woman, it's so incredible seeing a canonical lesbian express her desire so bluntly in a show like this. And Carol's reaction to herself admitting that is too fucking good. Yeah.
Yes.
Well said, Alex. 100% on all scores there.
I agree that the specific use of the word fuckable is so good because there's
Right?
no room. There's no room for misinterpretation.
Yeah, exactly.
None at all.
It's very specific.
Yeah, you can't walk away and be like, oh, she just thinks she's a cutie patootie.
Yeah.
Like, you can't walk. There's no room for anything. I love that.
Exactly.
Like, exactly what Alex is saying. I love that this is canonical. Here it is. There's no room for misinterpretation. Love it.
Well said. Yeah, absolutely true. And I really enjoyed reading everyone's lists, and it just kind of reminded me all over again all of the amazing moments that Carol gave us, and that, of course, Vince and his writers and his directors gave us as well. And, of course, everyone connected to the show. And first and foremost, I got to, as always, give the full credit. Ray Seahorn, bringing it to life, making it happen, making all these moments awesome.
Round of applause
as always.
As always.
So thanks again to everyone for sharing your thoughts with us on Gmail, on Twitter, on Blue Sky. You can find us at all of those places at Pluribus Pod. And we love hearing from you. We love talking about Pluribus with, really with anyone that will listen, but especially with the fans. And we know that all of you are. So thanks for sharing your enthusiasm with us. And we look forward to hearing from you again.
Okay, well, here we go, guys. We are going to talk to Pamela Stafford. Hi, Pamela.
Hi, so nice to be here.
Thanks for coming on the pod. This is so exciting. I've really been looking forward to this because I knew that you were in an episode of Pluribus, and we're going to find out in a moment, a while ago, but we haven't been able to really talk or know what your experience was because we hadn't seen the show before you were right when but now we've seen the entire season. But before we start talking about that, please introduce yourself. Let us know who you are and what you do and how you ended up on the set of Pluribus.
Thank you. First of all, I'm also very excited to be here. I have been a fan of both of your podcasts, both the X-Files Diaries.
Thank you.
I've listened to for a long time, and I was so excited when you started to do a Pluribus podcast. So I live in Albuquerque. I am a huge X-Files fan and a huge David Duchovny fan in particular. But I've watched the X-Files. I've done blogs on the X-Files. I did a disability-focused blog on the X-Files. And then I looked at David's written work in the X-Files as well. Nice. And so when I heard that Vince Gilligan was going to be doing a science fiction show in my hometown, I couldn't pass up the opportunity to try and be in the background, be doing something where I might see him, something where I might see Ray Seahorn. And lo and behold, it happened.
Nice.
Before we get into this, I need to say for all the listeners, you not only had a role as an extra on this set, you had a very prominent role in terms of being featured in the show. And we're going to get to all that, but I want to let people know that the episode you got to be in was episode 1, We Is Us. In the very first sequence in the bar where all of the people who are being taken over by the Pluribus are all seizing. And Pamela is part of a duo, a dancing couple on the dance floor. And right there, man, you see your face. You get like as Ray is like weaving around you guys, you get to see you once far back, and then you get to see you real close up that you guys are dancing and seizing. And super cool. Before we go back into all the audition and everything, I want to know right off the bat, what was it like seeing that for the first time, not knowing that you were going to be featured that way? Like, was it a huge shock? Was it exciting? Was it like, what was that feeling like for you watching the episode for the first time?
I had so much anxiety getting ready to watch it. And I kept wondering, I know all the stories from background people saying, oh, I never made it in. They cut me out. Just knowing how it was staged, they would literally have to cut out the scene, cut me out. And I didn't think that was going to happen because it was such an important scene. Watching it, I was hypercritical of myself. Like, I'm not shaking enough. I'm not, it's like, oh no. But watching, but also so excited to see really how that they kept the one shot because they had filmed it as a one shot for hours, but then they had also done some other shooting in case the one shot didn't work out. I was excited to see that they had kept the one shot. And that it really did kind of, it was as good of a scene as I anticipated. Ray was as good as I anticipated. The other extras were as good as I knew they would be. The sound of the woman in the microphone, which was kind of added in at the last minute,
creepy
across really well. I thought, but you could really see as she's running around that I am really kind of focused in the center, and then that great shot of her behind. I had a friend, Kathy G, who's been on your X-Files podcast.
Oh, Kathy G.
G. Shout out Kathy G.
Was screen capping and sending me all of them. Right. And so it was, I stopped it, I went back, I stopped it, I went back, and I've seen it many times since then, and it's still it's unbelievable that I thought I would be doing background when I first decided to send in my selfie. I had never done it. This was my first time. I had never done any background before. And I expected from talking to other people that I knew, oh, it's going to be a long day. You're going to be sitting in a park bench. You're going to be walking down the street and coming back and walking down the street. No one's probably going to see your face. Not, and that's not what happened. So it's pretty exciting to be in this show that's so popular, and then this and in a scene that's so important.
Right.
That center role. It's unbelievable, really.
Yeah, amazing.
Let's talk about that because you haven't done any background work before. This was your first time. So take us through that process. You first hear about it, and then what was the process for you in auditioning and then getting the role?
So the first thing I saw it on a Better Call Saul social media account that I follow. And they had posted the casting and said that this is probably for the Vince Gilligan show. And so I just, went to the site, took a camera selfie to put in, and I got a phone call asking me some very specific questions. And now that the season is over, I think I can tell people what those specific questions were.
Yeah, I was curious about that. Yeah.
Have you ever done any fencing? And no.
Fencing?
That sounds like a red herring question.
I wondered if maybe they had anticipated something with Waikaro.
With Waikaro, but that's what it sounds like, is that maybe you're watching the show and you're thinking, oh, maybe we're going to go to Waikaro, and then that never happens. So that's funny.
So no fencing. Have you done any martial arts? It's like no martial arts. Do you do any acrobatics? Like, no, I don't do any acrobatics. And well, and I said, well, look, I'm a 60-plus-year-old woman. I'm a plus size woman. I am not, because I did know it was probably going to be like an alien show, right? And so it was a question to me of, oh, I wonder if they're thinking, like, trying to cast people who are going to be in the background battling aliens or something.
Kind of sounds like that.
Yeah.
I couldn't see me in that role. And I said, maybe I'm not the right fit. And they said, well, no, have you done any movement, any dance? And I said, yeah, I dance. I've taken dance classes. I've did an acting movement class in college 40 years ago. I'm healthy for my age. And she said, well, come on in, we'll see. And so that almost convinced me not to go in, because I was already nervous, and is this even going to be worth it?
Well, I would have been thinking too, it's fighting, dancing, and this is something to do with aliens. Oh my God, is Vince going to have his first miss? That's what I would think. Do I want to go?
It definitely sounds like quite an odd,
ridiculous.
It's an odd series of questions.
It makes me think of how, not to make an X-Files reference, although I know no one here will mind, both David and Jillian thought after they filmed the pilot that was ridiculous and this is never going to get picked up. And it meanwhile becomes like one of the most popular shows ever. And it was not ridiculous, for the record. Anyone watching who hasn't watched the X-Files, the pilot is amazing. But I digress. Just hearing these random bits makes me think of like, oh my God, did you at all lose faith? Because I would have. I would have been like, oh God.
So since I've heard Nito on another podcast, and he's the movement choreographer,
director. Nito Lariosa. Yes.
Yeah, he's the movement choreographer, apparently, is the name of his role.
And so he was the person that directed us, and the person that we did all the auditions with. And I've heard him since say he was looking for people who could take directions. So he was asking about things like fencing and martial arts, and because you have to be able to take directions from.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
For certain kinds of movement. Yeah.
Okay, so there was a method to that madness.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
But I had to talk myself, and I lost faith in myself. Like, this is going to be a little hard. And but some of the background of my story is that as I was about to turn 63, and was kind of wondering, slowing down a little bit at work, and kind of wondering what my future held, I had made a decision that my birthday gift to myself was going to be doing something really unusual.
That's cool,
life experience. And
I love that.
And so I convinced myself. I dressed differently. I dyed my hair differently. I became a different person in order to go to the audition. And then at the audition, so they took us, hundreds of people audition.
Wow.
Over the course of 2 or 3 days. And
they had to see everyone individually? Like they were that?
Well, they took in like 5 to 10 at a time.
Okay.
And you learned basically 3 moves. You learned to seize, you learn to fall, and you learn to walk in a blissed out state.
Okay. All right.
And so we practiced those a few times, not a lot, but enough so that, we knew what we were expected to do. They had mats on the ground. They had that type of stuff. And then the actual audition was one at a time. All of us stayed in the room. All the 5 of us, I think, stayed in the room. We watched one another kind of go through those movements as Nito was filming it on his phone. And so that was the audition. And so when he said walk, you walked. When he said seize, you seized. When he said fall, you fall. And when he said, and then get up, and then you walked. And this, I'm a Grateful Dead fan, so I called it walking as if you were at a Grateful Dead concert.
Right. That's perfect.
I love
That's
that.
perfect. Hey,
Yeah,
it got you the part, so it
yeah,
worked.
well, it did. I'm guessing that the walking in as though you're like happy and light would have been for the people in the hospital scene. I'm
Yeah,
guessing for
that
the
sounds
end of the
right.
hospital scene, essentially, where they all kind of awake from their sort of seizure and walk outside. So that because at first I was like, why would you need to be able to walk like that? And then I thought they must have been auditioning people for both of those scenes at the same time, the bar and the hospital.
They were,
Yeah.
and we rehearsed the first couple of days together.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was shocked to get the call back that I got the role. But when we went back, there was 40 or 50 of us for the first couple of rehearsals,
Right.
hospital and the bar scene. And the other thing was that they selected from those groups of people for the scene where they're doing the Petri dishes.
Oh, all right.
Oh, yeah.
Nito would ask a few people to come and kind of practice that scene to see if they could do it in unison.
Oh, neat.
Right, because they had to learn that specific
Right.
choreography and do
Very
it.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that was from the same pool of background actors that they cast those roles as well.
Interesting.
Absolutely.
Oh, interesting.
And then after a couple of rehearsals, then they started breaking out into the hospital scene and the bar scene, and we started rehearsing differently.
All right. Cool.
I have a question. It just came to me. Did they tell you when you were done that they might ask you back, or do you think that they intentionally did not want people to come back because they wanted everybody to be different for the whole, the rest of the episodes? Like, did you have an option to come back, or did they say your work is done, we don't need you anymore? Like, I'm just curious because it seems like you could have shown up in a later episode and people wouldn't have necessarily noticed because other people, there would have been
okay. Would have been okay if they had, because it all happens in Albuquerque.
Yeah, but I was just curious about that. Like, or they were very, very serious about making sure that we saw all different people in every episode.
So that came up once we were on set a little bit, and but mostly talking with the other background people who were far more experienced than I was, and said, if they see your face, you're probably not going to come back.
That makes sense.
And even as we left, we didn't still know anything except the scenes we had done.
Right.
And so, if they see your face, you're probably not going to come back. They call it burning your face.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I wondered, and then there was a scene because I continued to check out the postings, and there was a scene where they needed 100 people, and I think it was probably ended up being the scene in the big auditorium, the sleeping scene.
Oh, yeah, they need a lot of people for that, wouldn't they?
Right.
Yeah, and at one point they said, even if you've been in the show before.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense, though, because it could be anyone in Albuquerque could be there reasonably. It would be believable that if you showed up in the stadium, that lady was at the bar, so there she is again. So it does make sense. And do you know if anyone was going to come back?
I don't know of anybody that did come back. I think I had put in and they didn't call me back for that scene specifically, but I would love to think that there would be a time when in the next 2 or 3 years when they're filming that, there could be
another opportunity.
Right.
Where you see, like, or could see someone.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
We'd love that.
We've been wanting flashbacks, and particularly if they wanted to do anything, even if it's not from Carol's POV, if it's following Carol on that day in any way, even from someone else's perspective, everyone would have to be called back, like all of those same people. So, I mean, hey, you never know. You might get that phone call, which would be really cool.
Or that it could trigger if she's, like, if you're in the Sprout scene or you're in any scene and she sees you, it could trigger that kind of post-traumatic stress.
Kind of a flashback. Yeah. Very cool and interesting.
How many days total was this? Like, how many days total was your work on the show?
Oh, so the actual filming was
the filming. Yeah.
Filming was 2 very long days. It was I think 12 or 13 hours one day and 15 hours the next day. So they were very, very long days.
Those are long hours, yeah.
And when did you know that Vince was going to be the one directing you? And how did you react to that news?
So I kind of assumed, when we walked in, they said we signed the NDA, and they said the only thing that we can tell you is that it's a science fiction.
Right.
It's like, yeah, but we were all talking about it's. Do you think? And Nito kept saying, that the director was going to look at these videotapes that he had made and kind of be choosing, and he would occasionally reference, there were certain people he wanted, and that he was part of that selection process. So I would say, but I actually wrote the date down that we were told it was Vince Gilligan. It was February 16th. This is the Vince Gilligan project.
Nice.
And very, very excited about that.
But it's cool too to I feel like learning that you're on the Vince Gilligan show is one thing, but then learning that he's actually going to be with you on the day directing you, I feel like is an entirely different piece of news. So did you not know that till you showed up that day, or did you know he would be there directing prior?
I knew that he was writing and directing the first 2 episodes, and that we would be one of the first 2 episodes. I didn't know. It wasn't clear to me if the hospital and the bar scene were going to be on the same day, because then I think in most series and that's a lot for one episode. I mean, that first episode really packs it in.
It does.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I thought, well, maybe it's one day, maybe it's the other day.
Right.
But we were one of the first groups to shoot, except that I know that the Barnes and Noble scene had been shot earlier.
Ah, cool.
So there were some others. But can I add that another day that was really exciting during rehearsals, not just when we learned about Vince, but a couple of weeks later, after we were really blocking out and staging, and deciding and being moved around and all of that. And we were rehearsing in a dance hall, but they were trying to set it up with the space that would be the bar.
Right.
So at the point where everyone is set up, Nito says, I'm going to do it like we're filming the scene with the Ray Seahorn. So now he's holding up the camera, and he walks in, and the woman is shaking and then he's walking around, and then he does that several times with how is he going to walk? How is he going to recommend Ray walks? He does everything on camera because it shows up. He says it shows up differently on camera. So he has his phone that he's filming with.
Yeah.
Everything.
Right.
But then knowing. And everyone kind of looked at one another and said, so we're going to be in a prominent scene with Ray Seahorn.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Because
amazing.
You very easily could have, not in the first episode, I suppose she was in every single scene, basically. Yeah. But you could have been
if you were one of the Petri dish people, you wouldn't have got a chance to meet
the scene
Ray Seahorn.
Beginning with the NASA, not NASA,
yeah,
but the space dish.
The scientists.
I can't.
The
talk.
Scientists.
Yeah,
we're all too excited today. The scientists. Yeah,
but
so there were a couple of scenes where you would not have had a chance to shoot with Ray. So that is an amazing opportunity.
Or that it would have been in the distance.
Yeah. You might have been nowhere near her.
Next to her, she's weaving around you. Like you're probably in that moment thinking, oh my God, she's going to be right here. Like how cool is that?
Yeah, right there.
There was one shot where Vince asked her to bump into my partner, Harry.
Oh, wow.
He bounces into me, and that's not the scene they kept in. But yeah, so there was definitely that kind
of. Wow, actual physical contact.
Yeah, I could see why they would have cut that, because it made me think of the part where she accidentally whacked that guy with the stretcher and like knocked him over in the hospital.
Oh yeah, they probably only wanted one sort of bumping
Carol
into
doesn't
people.
need to be bumping into everybody, and she knocked that one guy over. There was a lot. There was a lot.
I mean, the way that the bar scene came out was pretty perfect, I'd say. So they had obviously an excellent handle on what they were doing and what they wanted to include.
There was a detail you mentioned, Pamela, in your blog that we're going to have to link to so everybody can read it, but that you showed up to your rehearsal or something in the very yellow color, like identical to what Carol was going to be wearing. And that they said, nope, no, you can't be wearing that. And I love that. Did you know at the time that was the reason they told you? Or was it when Ray showed up on set, you were like, oh, okay, I get it now.
we just the night before got the text about come wearing Western clothing. And so I had boots, I had jeans. I don't really wear snap or button shirt, so I didn't have a Western shirt. I had this really pretty bright yellow shirt, and they said bring bring a couple of choices. So, but wear your first choice. Soon as they saw me, they were like, "Oh no."
Yeah.
Oh no. Do you have an alternate shirt?
Yeah.
Luckily you did.
Yeah.
Is it that bad? Is it? When we started filming, and I'm sitting across from my partner, sitting at the table, and Ray walks in, and he says, "She's wearing that yellow color."
It all became clear.
Yeah. I mean, we can't steal Carol's thunder. We can't do it.
You can't. No, Carol's got to be the only one in that yellow.
Yeah.
One question I had for you, Pamela. Obviously, you had some idea of what was happening in that scene, but I'm wondering what they told you about the plot. Like, what did you understand about the story at that point?
So before we started filming, the only thing we knew, there is a scene that's deleted. And it's the scene as Carol is walking through the bar. You can see her at the top of the bar. But then as everyone's dancing, she walks out. And so everyone was dancing. And that was filmed and that was rehearsed. And the idea was, what we were told is, you're dancing, it's normal, you're having a good time, it's a typical bar scene. When she walks out, something happens. We did not know what. Much later, something happens, and then when she comes in, everything has changed, and that was literally all.
Right. So, obviously, the image on the television screen wasn't there. Like they would have put that in post. Like, so you didn't see. There were no clues whatsoever as to what was going on.
That was footage. And the interesting thing about that, and probably the reason we noticed it from the bar and the dancing, is that the specific directions as they are walking out of the bar, at one point, Vince says, "You're walking too fast. No one's going to catch the television." And so the next time she walks slower, and he's like, "Well, why are you walking so slow?" And she's like, "Well," or she might have said something like
this is too slow.
Wouldn't I have seen the television? Am I supposed to see it?
She's so thoughtful. I love, she's thinking of everything constantly.
Yeah, it's a bit tricky because the audience has to see the TV, but the character of Carol can't notice it.
Exactly, and that's when he said, "Well, just maybe play with your shoe, or your shoe got caught, or something like that." And so that's
brilliant.
That moment when
I never noticed that shoe thing until I read it in your blog, and I'm like, does she do that? And then I've watched the scene a couple of times, and I'm like, she does kind of stop for a second and check her shoe. I never obviously she does it so naturally that you don't think this has a purpose, but now it makes total sense.
It's so subtle. And as a fan of bringing up the X-Files again, as a fan of the X-Files, I knew during the whole 2 days of filming, there are going to be people that are going to want this detail.
You know what the fans are like.
Yep. I'm reminded of, I'm sure you all remember the moment in the season 9 X-Files episode William, when Scully is walking down the hallway and she reaches down to kind of tug her pant leg out of her shoe. I don't know if that was a pacing timing issue or if it was a character issue, but I love that little detail. And David Duchovny directed that episode, I believe. I believe it. He always likes to bring a little bit of extra special pizzazz, but I love the idea that this is a problem that they had to solve.
Yeah.
I'm wondering also, is that another reason why she put the drink down and put the napkin on the drink, because that also added some time, or was that always part of the scene? I'm wondering, because that also bought them some time.
It did.
Although I don't know if the TV was in focus at that point yet.
The TV, I think, I was watching it again tonight. To me, I think the timing of it to me was the TV switches to the news alert just as Carol is putting that napkin on the glass. So I thought maybe it was to kind of attract our attention to that position, or did you happen to pick up on that, Pamela?
I did pick up on the first time they filmed it. She did not do that.
Oh, okay.
Next time, Vince said, just go ahead and stop for a minute and put the napkin on.
Right.
That could very well have been, again, because it was kind of around the same time he was saying.
Yeah. So wait, makes perfect sense.
Was that, you remember that was a Vince idea? That was a Vince suggestion?
Yes. To
put the napkin on, because that's such a female thing to do that it's interesting to me that Vince was the one that thought to do that. Like, I kind of love that.
I kind of love that too. And I'm so glad to finally find out what kind of the practical reason for that was, because I remember the episode, I'm like, is there going to be some significance to this napkin? Like, is this going to have something to do with the virus or something? And every time since then, I've always watched it and thought, why does she wind up putting that there? Now it all makes total sense to me. It was kind of a pacing thing, and it kind of also kind of gets the audience's line of sight lined up with the TV as well. It all makes sense. Vince, obviously a brilliant director.
It's also a really good character moment too, because I think of Carol as a person that's kind of always protecting herself. You know, and so I really like
protecting that. And a kind of protective of Helen too, I think.
Yeah. That definitely.
At the time, I don't think that I realized that might have been a pacing. I wondered if they were also coming and telling us, make sure you're drinking, make sure you're eating when we're filming our side. And I wondered if there was something about the food.
The drink or food,
I never said anything, but I wondered if there was something that's why we would be infected. And that her putting the napkin on may be protected.
Yeah. A bit of a red herring, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit, but I like that.
Yeah.
So
really interesting.
In terms of the scene that you were doing, I would say, and you mentioned this, that it was kind of split into two parts. It was the before and the after. So you have the scene where Miriam Shore and Ray Seahorn are sitting at the bar and they're talking, and you guys are basically just doing your thing in the background. So you didn't have as much to do in that scene as you did in the later scene when she comes back in and everyone's seizing. My questions are technical and story related. The first part of that scene where Miriam and Ray are doing their scene, did you know that they were in a relationship, that it was that they were together in a romantic relationship? Like, how clear was that? Because I have a feeling if I had just seen that scene out of context, that might not have been entirely clear, because it's not clear until they go outside, in my opinion. But I'm curious if you guys knew that at the time.
So we weren't told, so I can't speak for anybody but myself.
Okay.
But for me, it was really clear.
Yeah, really.
I remembered thinking, Ray is going to play a lesbian, and some people will absolutely love that. And some people absolutely hate it. But
I mean, it's clear from their chemistry, but I think going in and not knowing anything and seeing that scene out of context, I'm just curious how much of that they were trying to keep under wraps, or were they very open about that? That's just kind of my.
They really didn't talk that much on that day. Like on that day, I didn't talk to Vince at all. Nito would come. Vince would tell Nito something, and he would come and rearrange us. And there was that. There was at first I was way off of the bar scene, that piece of it, and then that was changed, and we were sitting, and then they changed where Harry and I were sitting. So that we were on opposite sides, and then we were both wearing cowboy hats, and then those came off, and so. At one point, they came and put a candle down by the table that was right in front of us.
Right.
Came and told people, you're pulling attention so calm down your
oh, really?
kind of background drinking and having
right.
Oh, gotta keep
down, guys.
Keep things kind of natural and low key. Yeah, I get that.
So at first we only saw what we saw, and I was listening, as closely as I could to the directions and that type of stuff.
Could you hear their dialogue, like what they were saying?
Oh, very well. Very well.
Oh.
I could hear Vince when he was giving them instructions and directions, and that was so exciting and fun.
That's so cool.
The time where it really came out was when we were filming the seizing scene, and they had rehearsed with us. Then they had filmed the scene outside the bar. We didn't know what that scene was because we were kept in a separate room. But then when we come back and Ray comes in, and he's talking to her about that, and there was discussion at that point about, and I remember Vince saying, the love of her life is in danger outside.
Oh,
yet
I love that.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
we're such Carol Helen shippers that
we're both just clutching our hearts right now.
Yes, it just warms my heart. I mean, we know that. We know she's the love of her life, but I like hearing
nice to hear Vince saying that.
Vince is giving her that direction. And then you guys all know also what her motivation and her fear is. And so you're like, you don't know exactly what's happening, but you can understand and work off that, even though you can't really react to her. You know what I mean?
Then there was discussion between the two of them about, so something very serious has happened to the love of her life. She's calling in to call 911, but this scene has to be so much that it distracts her for a moment. She has to, despite that,
exactly, because it's weird. It's crazy.
It has to be a really amazing sort of crazy scene to be able to attract her attention from the crazy stuff that just happened.
And then when she's looking into the kitchen, that scene was filmed much later, that part of her looking into the kitchen.
Yeah, you would think there are certain things that they didn't need you guys there for. So that makes sense.
Yeah, we were there because they were shooting from different directions.
Okay.
So we were there, actually. That scene was, there were new SAG rules that I don't really know, but there were some concerns about how long actors and leads could be on. And so there was some time crunch around that scene and how to get it shot, so that in fact Ray was looking at the screen. Vince was in the kitchen kind of giving the directions, and so he would say shake and hit the ground, and the guy would shake. And then Ray would say again, and so in that way she was kind of helping with the directing a little bit.
Okay.
Time crunch, and that was some of it. But the idea was that she would see once she saw the person on the ground bleeding, it would remind her, it would trigger her.
Yeah.
Of what was happening with Helen, and then she'd go running for the phone.
I do remember that being a moment where she really does kind of jump up a level in realizing the gravity of the situation, in her performance. I do remember seeing that in that moment.
Makes total sense. I love hearing about how Ray kind of jumped in and helped out a bit with the directing in that scene just to kind of get it nailed.
Let's talk about Ray for a little bit. Did you have were you able to interact with her at all, or if not, describe her vibe on the set? What was she like just being on the set?
Not very much. I mean, during the one kind of conversation we had was a quick word when she actually told me to kind of speed up a little bit, because we were bringing brought in during the kitchen scene, and they were in such a time crunch. She's like, come on.
She's like, we got to get out of here. We got 15 minutes.
But what was really nice is that before we started filming that scene with the movement, she gave a little speech. And what she said to everyone is how much she admired the movement folks, that she had not done any movement acting, and that it was. But she also said that, and this really spoke to me because it just kind of fit in with me trying to figure out why I was part of the scene, really, why they selected me, is she said what Vince does across all of his work is he wants people reacting in normal ways to the most extraordinary circumstances. He wants it to reflect reality, and that there are very few really gorgeous and glamorous people in the world. There are a lot of interesting characters. And what he's trying to get with this scene is that it's affecting all kinds of different people in this bar and showing a variety of different interesting characters. And I loved that, and could reflect back on Vince's other work and realize how true that was. And then at the end, once we were wrapped, she made it a point to say, we want to give a round of applause for our extra. They did such wonderful work, and everyone applauded. And what I heard is that kind of opening speech and applause for the background happened with her in every single scene.
That's so great. I can totally see that with her. That makes totally. And you know what else? I mean, she's thanking you, Pamela, in every one of her acceptance speeches of all the millions of awards she's winning. Every single time she says thank you to the background actors, because she's right. Like, she carries this show, but she can't do it without you guys. Like, it's her versus the world. It's her versus this character, which is you guys. And everyone is pulling their weight and doing such an amazing job. And I love that, of course she does, because she's awesome, but that she acknowledges that work and that how hard you guys worked and what a great job you guys did. I mean, that's really great. And but probably put you at ease a lot when you were first coming on set and she came on and said all of that to you guys.
It was really nice. And the other thing that was fascinating for me is to watch Vince and her. And so some of those scenes in that before bar air time, he would come up, and it's again, I've never been directed. I've never been on seen anybody directed. So maybe this is normal. Maybe it's different. But I expected there to be happier, be sadder, be all that type of thing. And instead, he would say, "Play with that word a little." And then she would play with the word a little. Or he would say, try that a little differently. Give that a little more meat, it wasn't a emotion direction. It really felt like he was still leaving it open to her.
That's just trust. I mean, look, they, as you know, as everyone listening knows, they have developed a shorthand probably over the past several years. He knows how she works, and he knows he can trust her to do something that maybe he hadn't even thought of. And so rather than, and he strikes me as the kind of guy that isn't going to tell you what to do. He trusts you to do the best work. You mentioned in your blog that when he would speak, he wouldn't really use the word I. He would say the word we, as in he's constantly giving credit and due to all the people around him, which is something I really think is awesome about Vince.
I think that's lovely.
He struck me as being very humbled, very soft-spoken, very appreciative of her. There was after the outside scene, when we had filmed all day in the bar, without the shaking, the pre-experience, and then we were going to rehearse before the next day shooting. And she had been out doing, and you guys know how hard that scene was. We didn't know it, but now we see it, right? She's lifting Helen up, and she's doing all that. And again, she only had a few minutes left. And he said, I know you're exhausted. He was really understanding of that. But he's like, but you're going to have to do this scene tomorrow we're going to rehearse it with their stand-in tomorrow, but you need to run through one time so that you can tell me, it doesn't feel right. Are you going to be able to? Because it turned out that the bar was smaller than the space that we had thought it was going to be when we practiced in the dance hall. So there were things like, for instance, the idea was that when Carol walked in, the woman would be shaking with the tray. And then as she started to walk, the two women who were leaning against one another would fall down. And but it was such a small area that the only way to do that would be for her to be blocking that action. So she had to take a quick kind of sidestep in, making it look really natural, I think. But that quick sidestep so that you could see them fall. And so it was that type of thing that he wanted her to make sure that she could do it and maneuver it, and what was that going to look like. And so
that's
I just thought that it was, we hear sometimes from sets, sometimes years later, that maybe there wasn't always respect, and just in what I saw, the respect that he had for her is just, and of course you see that in all the interviews.
Yeah.
But it's not playing for interviews. You could definitely
right. No, I agree.
You
I
saw
can
the real
see
deal.
that. It is I would think it is the real deal. Absolutely.
That is really cool. I love the idea that he, that Vince really wanted to get Ray's feedback on how she was going to walk through that scene, and that was so important to him that he heard from her about that. And I love that. I love hearing about how much of a collaboration their work is.
Yeah, that really stayed with me. And then the other thing that stayed with me is every scene was shot for hours. The bar scene was of them talking was for hours, shot at different directions, including, there's just the one quick scene of the extras on the lower floor, that scene, but I'm sure it was an hour worth of shooting over and over again.
Wow,
every scene was just a lot of filming, and the shaking scene, you could tell he was having fun.
Yeah.
It's they added in the mic, they added in the dropping of the drumstick. They added in the guitar player shaking. They added in, over the course of several shots, of several takes, he would say, I think we could you hit the microphone and make that sound? Yeah, why don't we do a drum? Can you drop the drum there? Can you drop the? He would ask us. He would say, because the intention was that he was going to show the dancing that we were doing. So he would ask us for continuity. What am I missing? Anything? And it's like, well,
nice.
Yeah. So there was the woman who ends up kind of leaning against the stage. During the dancing part, she was doing you've seen it in a bar, the kind of woman walking alone, maybe having drunk too much and dancing. And she had her glass of red wine, kind of doing that.
Right.
And it's like, she's laying there, and what happened to the wine? And so he's like, we need the wine dripping, and it's going to be red wine. And
I love that. I love that attention to detail. That's fantastic.
So he just kept adding things, and then
he accessed the hive mind for all that information.
and then at one point he was, he's like, "This is so freaky-deaky," and you could just he's just having a blast.
I love that.
It shows in his work, but it's so nice to hear that he's genuinely enjoying himself when he's doing it. And I'm really interested to hear about how he's developing these ideas during the scene, that it's not like 100% planned ahead of time, like with the singer and the microphone and the drumstick. It's really cool to hear that he's just coming up with that stuff on the spot.
Yeah, so the band wasn't even for most of the rehearsals. We didn't know there was going to be a band, and it was in our last rehearsals that they kind of put an area up, and they pulled some of the. They're like, this isn't what you're going to be doing, but just for today, you'd be the band, so we can see how that looks.
How it would work, yeah.
Yeah, and then the day of filming is when the band came in. So they hadn't had any, I don't think, rehearsals. And so kind of adding them into what they were going to do that was going to stand out, that took development and all of that, and moving people around. He was very, at one point he said, I want to try to make sure as many people are going to be in this scene as we can get in and still make it look natural.
Nice.
So I thought that was very respectful too. Of he had
to everybody
great.
there. Yeah,
That's amazing.
really
did you get a chance to speak to Vince at any point, Pamela?
I did, and that was quite exciting. The first day, I mean, so everyone on set knew. Everyone in rehearsals knew that I was, X-Files person.
Oh, our kind of person.
Yeah.
Everybody knew I was a fangirl, and I was trying not to do that. Day, especially when really we were just in truly background. And there was a time he was talking like to the drummer whose mother was an X-Files fan, and they were but I was trying not to. And then the day that we started filming the second scene, now we're all standing there. His attention is on us. And so I felt like it was okay to have a conversation with them. And, thanked him for his work in Albuquerque. Thanked him for the opportunity to be directed by him. And then other people kind of, because we were all standing in our positions, other people saying, yeah, it's really is a great opportunity. It's and then we talked a little bit about crime in Albuquerque. I think because of the Breaking Bad connection, my car has been stolen.
Right.
Oh no.
Oh dear.
And so I say, he's like, I'm so sorry about that. It's like, I'm blaming you for that.
It's not your fault.
I can see Vince taking it personally, like, oh, my city of Albuquerque. Oh no.
Well, he's even taking the world in an interview I saw the other day, or a speech he was giving or something. He talked about if there was even just anything about Breaking Bad that had created the world we're currently living in, to write more heroes. And it's like, it's White is not responsible for the things going on in the world right now.
Yeah, it's interesting that he thinks about that.
Long before Breaking Bad. So
yeah, there's crime everywhere, that's for sure.
Can I ask kind of a geeky question about a specific shot in this scene? Because one of my favorite shots, probably in the entire series so far, is that shot of the beer glasses when Ray comes in and you see her face and the beers are shaking. Was there did you watch them like filming that? Like how was the lady holding like a special rig that was all glued together? Like how did that work? Like, I'm just curious.
So some of that came out in rehearsals. We would, when we initially staged, it was, we selected our own places to begin with.
Okay.
And then we were told that we would be moved or whatever as it happened. And initially, because we were dancing and the dancing wasn't staged, we were told just dance, but then they would say stop. And wherever you stopped in, it's like that child's game. Then you're supposed to be shaking how you were stopped, and they would kind of see how that looked. And then they played around for a while with, and again in rehearsals, where she was standing by a table and she was shaking, and everything fell over, and then they had a couple of people where that was happening, and say, well, there's too much of that same thing,
right?
And she's an amazing artist, and she was just kind of able to practice and get to the point where she could stand with the tray. They initially did it with red glasses, those red drinking.
Like a solo cups.
And so they initially did it with that, and then they got to the point where she could stand there and do that.
Wow, so that's awesome.
Oh wow, yeah, very impressive.
They played with the shot, filming it in different angles until I didn't know. about kind of the close up on Carol's face while I watched it.
Right. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
That's cool.
It's such a talent, not just in terms of the directing on the day, but then in the editing to know what shot is the shot, because that's an amazing shot.
It makes me wonder. I'm glad you told me that too, because that's clearly something that they just came up with on the day. It wasn't like planned. Like I always wonder which shots are something that's in his head. Like I want this shot of the two glasses and her face. It's such a cool shot that I thought maybe going into it, he had already planned that. But it seems like this is just something that happened, which is even cooler.
It was decided in the rehearsals.
Right.
That she would stand there with it shaking as Ray walked in. That's editing, and that's the decision of how to do that. The other thing in terms of my shot that I love so much with Ray walking in back of us, initially that was supposed to be, the camera was supposed to follow her around us. And as they tried to do that, there wasn't enough real room without showing Ray's back for kind of a longer period of time.
Right. They want to keep her face in the frame as much as possible.
Yeah. And so they decided then it was easier to kind of cross over in front of us and have her come from the back. And that's how that happened.
Yeah. So you guys are like slightly in the foreground essentially, and Carol is behind you and in that shot.
Yeah. She walks around and then she looks back at the band. And see our faces as doing that, and that's all decided at the moment around if we follow her behind, we're just going to have a shot of her back for too long.
It just I don't always think about all these logistics that they have to think about, every tiny little moment that they have to think about, all the different sort of implications and all the decisions that they have to make. It just kind of amazes me, all of the decisions that have to be made and how smart they are and how well that came together.
It was fascinating to watch. It was fascinating to see it from its inception to kind of on screen.
Fascinating. I'm really interested in the fact that the degree to which in the series, as you said, Annie, how the background actors are such key parts of Pluribus, and how it's not sort of the typical extra role, like you said, that you were kind of imagining you'd be sort of sitting on a park bench or something, but that you're performing, that these are actual background artists as they're referred to. And it's really cool how much you guys got to do in addition to just sort of being on screen. I think that's so cool.
It's probably so much more rewarding to see the finished product, knowing how much more had to go into it.
It's also something to have. I remember the excitement, not from me because I didn't know what I don't know. I didn't first experience, but from the other actors, just hearing you've been bumped up to do specialty movement actors. The increase in pay, it does mean you're going to be paid for rehearsals, and they're just so impressed with the people who do this work for a living, because during rehearsals there was another series being filmed in Albuquerque, and many people were spending 12 hours on film for that series as background, or as stunts, or as what else they were doing, and then coming in for rehearsals, without any sleep.
Wow.
I guess, you got to work when the work's there, I guess.
Exactly, because there's times when it's not. And also the difference between, I kind of divided it into two in my brain. The people who were there who wanted opportunities to do more. They don't want to stay background, right? They want more. And this was a real break for them. And then people who were retired from careers, and this is their retirement extra income. And they do it as much as they can. If you have different cars of different ages and genres and types. People were saying they loved that. You get paid extra for the car. You're sitting in the car and told to drive. You
Nice.
know, and so people really loved that. There were Harry mentioned that he had done some stand-in for the Jonathan Banks character on.
I wanted to mention that because you said he did Mike's stand-in. I'm like, he looks like him.
He does look like Mike. Yeah. As soon as you said that, I'm like, he does look like Mike. Yeah.
Love it.
And was like, you know, that was even, you know, so trying just to keep it as a gig.
Yeah.
You know, as you know, and doing as much as they could to do that. And that was kind of inspirational to see that happening with that, you know, people who were doing it professionally.
Yeah.
Neat.
Did you, this is probably a dumb question and an obvious answer, but what did you think of the show, the whole show? Like when you watched it, like, did you like it? Yeah, it's a dumb question, but we got to ask.
I loved it.
Okay.
All right.
There is, it's exactly what I would have expected and not what I would have expected at all. I mean,
yeah, that's perfectly said.
This is what I knew. And the hardest thing for me to keep secret, was the questions when people would say, what does Waikaro mean? You know,
oh yeah.
It's just a novel. It's what you know,
right?
Because
they're talking about
because
they're talking about Waikaro in the bar. So you would have been one of the few people that would actually know what Waikaro actually meant.
Did you know the title at that point, Pluribus? Like,
no,
they wouldn't have been like, so you would have had no idea. So you probably thought at that moment that the show was still called Waikaro?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
And not, they added at some point Waikaro 369. For us, it was
right.
Waikaro.
Right. Yeah.
And so that was kind of hard to keep.
Yeah, I bet.
The Carol Helen relationship, to me, it's a beautiful relationship, but the idea of it being a queer relationship doesn't really matter to me, except that it's a wonderful representation. So
it is.
That wasn't anything that I felt was hard to keep secret. Once it kind of started to get out, it was hard I didn't know enough about the overall plot.
Right.
To be able to spoil anything.
Exactly. You're like, I don't really know.
They weren't telling you the story.
So it was, that first episode to me is just an incredible, like, buckle in type of thing. And then I love the fact that all the other episodes slowed it way down.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. I love that, but it's still like the things still happen. You still have the grenade.
Yep.
Right. You still have Carol accidentally killing 1 million people. You still have a lot of action there.
There's spiky trees. Yeah.
It can be about so much. And I've watched it 3 or 4 times. I blogged on the kind of beats that are taken, and I'm not going to remember the name of this. We Got Milk.
Got Milk.
Got Milk. Yeah.
So terrifying, right?
Yeah.
But then the episode after that, you know, you start out with that horror,
right?
And then you have a Las Vegas scene, and then you have is this about them eating people? And it just, it just shuts down.
Yeah. Just shrivels like a balloon. And you're like, oh, I thought we were going somewhere with that, but no one gives a shit. Yeah.
And it's that episode in particular has every beat of every emotion you do. And again, I think back to the X-Files and how they blended comedy and they blended drama, but it was usually in separate episodes.
Yeah.
And here is Vince just hitting it all and doing it in a seamless way. And it's just such a work of art to me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well said. Yeah. All great points.
Absolutely.
I was just going to ask you, Pamela, when you were watching the series, did you find yourself watching the background actors more than you would have before you yourself worked as a background actor?
So I will say that because I rehearsed with some of the hospital scenes, I watched that scene quite a bit.
Yeah.
To see who and where and how they were.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can't say that in watching other series or things I've seen since that I'm
Right.
focused on background actors. Don't know if I was watching Pluribus. I don't know how you don't focus on the backgrounds.
Well, yeah, they're a key part of the scenes, aren't they?
And they're the scary part.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's that scene where they're all like normal and acting, and it's Vegas, and then they go back. To me, that's one of the scariest scenes there
It's
is.
horrifying.
Right,
It's so creepy.
Yeah, great point. Yeah. Yeah, those background characters and background actors are so key to the series.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So great.
I love that.
Well, okay, Pamela, it would be remiss of us before we let you go to not ask you what your favorite X-Files episode is.
Yeah.
Oh, it's The Unnatural.
All right.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Okay.
I like how you had that answer ready to go. You've got a favorite.
I have a favorite.
I mean, I know why, written and directed by David Duchovny, but I have to tell you, and he's only written and directed a few in the series. That's also my favorite David episode. It's actually it's in like my top 20. I love it. I think it's
Great
fantastic.
episode. Yeah. Nice choice.
People remember it for the Mulder Scully stuff at the end, particularly, which is really, really great. But I think it's a wonderfully written, tight, solid story. So good pick. I love it. It's kind of a deep cut, but I love it.
Yeah, I love that.
Well, and if I can elaborate a little bit on,
please.
So I did a blog series where I looked at everything that David had either writing credit or story credit on, and then I compared it with his novels and his movies that he's written and his songs that he's written.
Nice.
And to me, he has a signature style, and it's a style I love, which blends the deepest, darkest reality with a fairy tale humor quality. That's across everything he does. He realizes,
that sounds right. Yeah.
He realizes, it seems to me, that you're not now I'm happy and now I'm sad and now I'm anxious. You're happy, sad, and anxious all at the same moment.
Right.
No one writes that to me as well as he does.
Nice.
And the unnatural out of everything he's written is the best example of that. Because, you have X dying at the end, which is tragic, but then he becomes a man, right? And that's very much Pinocchio, I realize, but it's also really, really that it can be tragic and happy, and you see that it's the only episode to really deal with racism, to really deal with Ku Klux Klan, the only episode of the X-Files with the N-word. It has all that realism in it.
Yeah,
it's a fairy tale, and it's done so well. That's my
love it. Very well put.
Very well put. And it, like I said too, it's bookended with those Mulder and Scully sections that are they're more realism, but they're also very whimsical. So it's all these kind of competing emotions that are
that's a great description of David's style. I love it.
Yeah.
I think he writes Mulder and Scully better than anyone when it comes to MSR stuff.
I think you're right about that. Yeah. He's not afraid.
He's not afraid. You're right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. He understands the characters and writes it very well. He's a very talented writer.
So just to bring this back around to Pluribus, though, do you have a favorite Vince Gilligan X-Files episode?
Oh, Paper Hearts.
Oh, nice. Good pick.
For much of the same reason. It has that kind of, it's the worst kind of monster. There's no worse monster as a human monster.
Yeah.
And it also has that Alice in Wonderland kind of parts to it. So it also blends that. So
that's a good one. I think people who have never seen the X-Files could, I think, watch Paper Hearts and kind of it does deal with a lot of the mythology just in terms of Mulder's backstory, but I think people could watch that and get a good sense of how Vince does an X-Files episode and get a good sense of the X-Files. It's also one of my all-time favorite.
That's a great episode. You're right. I think you're right, Annie. That would be a pretty solid pick if someone wanted to get a taste of the X-Files and get a taste of Vince's work on the X-Files. That's a pretty good episode to pick.
Yeah.
And then I just have to point out that with Drive, you have Bryan Cranston as this extremely unlikable character.
Yeah.
I'm going to say unlikable and kind of curmudgeonly. He sees his wife die because of the elf's electromagnetic frequencies that is kind of invading his brain.
I'm seeing these parallels I had never seen before.
I see it.
And now we have Manusos, trying to figure out the frequencies, right? And all of that type of stuff. To me, it's cool. Like, it's obviously not the same story. They're not the same people, but there's some parallels that.
I hope that our knowledge of the X-Files is going to help us figure this show out. I think it will.
So. I think the clues are there.
Yes. You just have to know where to look.
We just have to know where to look. So we've got some time before season 2 comes along, so we can just keep rewatching Vince Gilligan X-File episodes and piece together some theoretical clues.
He also has some of the loneliest men episodes of the X-Files.
Yeah,
that's true.
You're right. Yeah. They do have a lot of these sad, lonely characters. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can definitely see a bit of that on Pluribus as well.
Well, thank you so much, Pamela. This has been so much fun to talk about your experience. I feel like we've learned a lot of things that I did not know about how they film these scenes, how everybody works together. I mean, it's so cool and such a cool experience.
So cool.
I hope you get to go back. If you do get to go back, we're going to have you back again and chat about whatever you get to do next time, because that would be super cool.
Thank you. And it's an honor, and I will be listening.
Do you have anything to plug going on right now? Why don't you plug your blog for people? Let people know where to find you.
So I am on both Blue Sky and I am on X as PJ's Posts, PJS Posts. And also on a Buy Me a Coffee site. And so buy me a coffee if you're interested.
Very nice.
All my writings these days.
That's great. Yeah,
awesome.
And I read a couple of your blog posts. Tremendous writing, and I look forward to reading more. So everyone should check it out.
And we will share them on our feeds too.
Thank you.
Well, thanks again for coming on. And hey, if you guys have any questions for Pamela, hit us up, Blue Sky or Twitter at Pluribus Pod. And we will see you guys next time on Pluribus Diaries. Bye.